Hello, everyone. Welcome to a surprise episode, a Halloween episode of And That's Why We Drink, which I don't think we have ever done before.
No,
we are.
Let me jump in because I'm very excited. This is our first bonus episode with a guest. And this is a pretty big one for us. This is comedian, actor, podcast host of the show Ghosted, and now cast member. I don't know if that's the right word, but cast member for Living for the Dead, which comes out on Hulu October 18th. And this is Roz Hernandez.
Oh my God, I'm making history.
Thank you for being our first.
Can you tell we're really new at this? I accidentally completely effed up the start of the recording. So we're newbies at having guests on, but we were waiting for the right person to come along, and here you are.
You guys, I'm so honored. Thanks for having me. And you're going to be on my podcast.
That's right. We just did a little crossover moment. It was a delight. We had so much fun. And now we dragged you here to tell us about your creepy experiences.
That's the truth. And also, I wanted to give you an opportunity to tell everyone about your show coming out.
Yes,
so,
I want to hear about that.
Because it ties in very perfectly with Halloween season.
Oh, yeah. This show, Living for the Dead, which is coming out on Hulu. It's very, it goes hand in hand with my podcast. Because my podcast, I talk about ghosts and aliens and cryptids and everything paranormal. And I'm queer, I'm trans, and a lot of my guests are queer and allies. And I love just the connection between queerness and the paranormal. And this show is an all queer cast. There's 5 of us. There's 3 psychics. There's me. And then there's a person that's doing all the tech and all of the equipment and all that kind of technical stuff with ghost hunting.
So if they're the psychics, what's your
entertainment?
Me.
The entertainer?
Hello.
Obviously.
Well, I do a lot of the research. I mean, I'm nosy, especially when someone, when it's historical, when it's stuff from the past. I like to dig around and see what I can find out. So it's fun working with psychics because they'll get an impression about something, and then I can go, figure out if that name that they just picked up is a real thing. Or
That's the
whatever.
coolest puzzle ever to get to play with. I love that.
Yeah. It's really interesting having 3 psychics, because they all have different abilities, and one is more tarot heavy, and one's a really good psychic medium. And then there's another one that's got more witchy vibes to what she does. And I don't know, I think it's cool. It's definitely a different approach, I think, to these kinds of shows. And with it being such a queer show, I think it's definitely through a queer lens. The aesthetic is really beautiful. And it's created by the people that created Queer Eye. So we're also going into these locations where people are dealing with these ghosts, and we're helping them the best we can. And Kristen Stewart's the narrator, and it's super fun. Hulu.
Oh my
Very
gosh.
cool.
I cannot wait. It's right down our alley on every possible level. I'm curious about the psychics. Did they ever look at you and do they close that off when they're just talking to you, or are there some times where they're like, listen, I have to tell you something,
someone's coming through,
your grandfather's coming through? Do they ever do that with you, or is it just no, we're here for professional reasons only?
I wish. My dead people said goodbye, and
they're gone.
They don't want anything to do with me. I
feel
swear
that.
to God. I have tried. I am obsessed with psychics. I'm addicted to psychics. I've gone to probably 100 or more psychics in my lifetime, and I don't feel like my dead people ever want to talk to me. And it's very sad. But these psychics, they're pretty good at turning things off. I don't know. I compare psychic abilities to sense of humor a lot. And I
Mm.
think it's like similar where like,
Mm.
yeah, I'm a comedian, but like when I hang out with people, I'm not like cracking jokes left and right,
Yeah.
but sometimes a good one will slip out and I think it's like the same kind of
I
thing.
love that. I never thought about that because we talk about that too, where like we'll be out and we're not like on or like in character, not trying to be the funny person all the time. So I can see that. That makes sense. They would like turn that valve off.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
And have you ever talked to a psychic? Sorry, I'm like totally derailing the conversation, but
um I have talked to psychics. Yeah, we both have been to the same psychic actually.
that's true.
And I feel like, actually, speaking of queer stuff, when I first went to her, I do this thing where I treat myself to things in advance. So I'll like go shopping and like click the calendar date of when it should get delivered, and it's very far in the future. So I treat myself to things and surprise myself. And
Oh.
I surprised myself with a psychic reading, and it happened to be like 2 weeks after my grandma ended up passing.
Oh my.
And
Whoa.
it worked out very well. And one thing that I never got to tell her, or I avoided telling her, was that I was queer, because I kind of got the vibes that she wasn't about that. And
She wasn't about it. Just like
she
wasn't her thing.
she made it kind of clear in
Yikes.
passing, but
Yeah, I
um
get it.
so I was like, all right, you're just not going to know that part of me. Well, then I have this psychic coming in, and the first thing she says is like, your grandma is here, and she wants to apologize for making you feel like you couldn't come to her about things, and she sees what your life is about, and she couldn't be happier for you. And I'm like, oh my
Aw.
god. I'm like, that's like some sort of inner gay healing. So
I love
That's
that.
sweet. See, I always wonder how that works. Like, I've had a lot of psychics tell me about how your dead loved ones like can always watch. Like they're just like
oh god.
always tuning
Just like pop
in.
in.
Like it's Santa Claus, he sees you when you're sleeping. They know when you're awake or
Cute.
something. But and that's my theory of why my people don't want to talk to me. I think they've seen some shit. And they're like, we're not talking.
Well, also, that like I feel like we've been reassured a bunch of times by mediums of like, oh, well, they don't like watch you like when you're in the shower or when you're like doing, some certain things. But like, there's one ghost that does.
There
There's
has
one.
to be a pervy ghost out there.
Like, it's not like there's a locked door they can't walk through or something.
Right.
In those
Right. Or
moments.
they're like, okay, now I'm going to turn the channel and look at another relative now, like as they get naked, and I'll come back later. Like, I don't know if that's really what happens.
I don't know, but the not knowing terrifies me. So, anyway, I was gonna ask too about the psychics on your show. Do you ever feel then that like the pressure's on you because everything, like, what if their readings, I don't know about clash, but what if you're just getting, if there's three psychics, you're getting three completely different stories, and it's your job to piece them all together? I mean, that I would feel like I'd be the most stressed out one on the set, Or how do you
Right.
deal with that?
Interesting. Well, I mean, I think a mistake that a lot of people make with psychics is that they think that psychics have all the answers, or like people go to psychics all the time and they assume that the psychic is going to solve all their problems or whatever. And I really like the psychics that I was working with, and my belief on this sort of a thing is like, just let me know what's coming through. It's sort of like when you're brainstorming, like what are some ideas that are popping up? I don't know. It's like tune into your psychicness. Let me know what you got. Oh, you got like a man with brown hair. Okay, cool. Oh, somebody that's in 1940s clothes. Okay, cool. Like, let's just like jot these down. Who knows? Maybe you're picking up on a relative that is of a crew member. I don't know. It could be something. It could be a lot of things. And
So
then
you also
we'll
have to
figure
weed.
out.
You have to weed through some of the stuff too to see if it even
like what's
connects with
applicable.
the story.
Totally. And then it's like, okay,
Oof.
we have confirmed that there was a guy with brown hair that in the 1940s died in this room. Let's like tune into that and see what else we can find out about that. But most of the places that we went to, I mean, I'd say most of them, there was like a problem that was going on, like a specific
Okay.
energy was making it hard for the people that were living there, or or working there or whatever it was. And so we were sort of tuning in and figuring out, okay, what do you guys need? Like, how can we make it so you all can coexist here? Which was like really empowering for me because I'm sorry, I come from the world of drag queens. I give a lot of side eye and sass. And when these ghosts are being assholes, I mean, I wouldn't say that I was like yelling at them, but I had a couple of moments where I was like, all right, listen up.
Let's set the record straight.
I was sent here by the nice people that own this building. And if you want to be here, you can, but come on.
Is there
together?
Is there I guess this leads into another question of have you done any ghost hunting before this? But also, do you have any was there like a ghost hunting like training that you all had to like sit down and like how are we going to handle this? How are we going to because there are some shows out there, which I'm sure a lot of people can read the room, where they're just aggressive and hostile to the spirits. Like, how did you all talk before, like how you're going to address
what's the vibe? What's the tone before we do this intervention with the ghost?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've all done this kind of work, like to varying degrees. I mean, I think with my podcast and researching and talking to witnesses is like kind of what my podcast is that I've done every week for the past few years. And I've also done ghost hunting stuff. And we all sort of have different approaches in a way. But yeah, I mean, we had a lot of meetings together throughout each investigation and be like, okay, what should we do? Like, what are we all thinking? Let's kind of let's figure out what the best plan might be here. But yeah, no like ghost hunting school or anything like that. But
we should start one of those. I don't know if that exists, but we should TM.
Yeah.
Well, I just think there's like so many different ways that you can do this stuff. And I don't know, I think ultimately it's like be respectful and have an open mind and be curious. And that's sort of what we did. I mean, the few times that I got like sassy with a ghost, it was just like, it actually kind of just came out. I couldn't help. It's not something I would normally do.
You were possessed in some way.
Yes. The one that I'm thinking of was insulting my hair. And that was the last straw for me.
Too far.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Yeah. But we work really well together, the five of us. And I think that this show, like if you've seen ghost hunting shows, like I'm such a fan of ghost hunting shows and I've watched them for the past 20 years or whatever. And I love what I've seen so far, but this one is different because I think we're really focused on helping solve a specific scenario. And so like even a lot of the process that we go through to get to a conclusion, like you don't necessarily see all of it. I mean, sometimes I don't know if it's like the most interesting thing in the world to watch people like playing with equipment. Like you don't see necessarily that part. You do, but it's not just that. Like there's a lot going on. You might even cry a few times while watching it. And it's also like really fun and silly and yeah, it's a good time.
I love that. Were you ever like terrified? Were you ever like really scared, or was it more low key than that?
The whole time, I was terrified. I mean, I love to try to act like it's these are living people that have died and now they're just existing and they're. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. If you have the ability to be invisible around me, that's terrifying. Yeah. And also, I don't know these ghosts. I'm sorry. True. I didn't know them when they were alive. I don't know them now. I don't know how they feel about all of this. I don't know how they feel about queer people. I don't know how they feel about camera crews. I don't know. So, I mean, I definitely approached it like I was going into a stranger's house,
Right.
which I think, having had a little bit of experience going into strangers' houses in my day, you never know what you're gonna get.
That's true.
Did you ever get like like an example of mine is whenever we've gone ghost hunting, even though I'm excited that we're going ghost hunting and that, it's, helping us either.
And it was your idea
And
usually.
it was my idea. When we book a place and it's like actually happening, part of me is like, shit.
Why did I do this?
Why did I do this? How did I get myself into this? Do you ever feel like that where you're like, I got cast on this great show and it's going to do really well, but fuck, now I have to go in all these stupid haunted houses?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. Thank you for normalizing that.
It's validating.
It's just
for
like
Em.
how I'm like, I gotta plan the cutest outfits. Like I'm gonna be on camera, and then I get there, and we're in like an abandoned funeral building, and I'm like, this is not an outfit for this.
But
I
you
guess
look
there's a
good,
reason.
I bet.
Oh, totally. Like I totally get why people don't wear high heels and skin tight dresses and stuff like that when they go ghost hunting. It makes sense.
Well,
but sometimes you got to learn the hard way.
Em still mocks me for getting a spray tan before one of our ghost hunts.
To be in the dark. To be in the
was
dark.
like, we were filming in infrared camera. I was like, okay,
Oh
that's
my
fair.
God.
That's fair.
That's hilarious.
Did
Well,
you?
I was just going to answer your question real quick. Like, I definitely feel that experience of like excitement, and then I get there and I'm like, what the hell? When it comes to sleeping, like these places, like I think like 3 or 4 of them we slept in
Oh,
for
jeez.
3 nights or so, and that's when it's like, okay, we're having a blast all day long. We're here, and then it starts getting dark, and then
it's quiet.
everyone's getting sleepy. And I'm sorry, but we got 3 people in this group with magic powers. We got one person that's the kind of ghost hunter that's like, bring it on. I want the scariest stuff ever. I hate to say this, but I'm the only normal one in this damn group. And so when it would be nighttime, I never slept the entire time that we were doing this because it was so scary. Any little noise I heard, I assumed was a ghost. And, you just heard so many stories all day long and you had all these experiences. Like we had sometimes when at nighttime, we would do all these experiments. The scariest shit would happen. And then it's like, all right, everyone, good night. We'll see you all in the morning. And I'm like, how do I just go to bed after that in a haunted room?
Is there a way that, like, are you told by production, like, you actually have to go try and sleep? Or can you just be like, I'm now officially the only one ghost hunting all night long because I can't go to bed?
Well, there's no way in hell I was going to leave my room. I just sat in my bed with my blankets and my eyes wide open.
Aww.
Yes, that was what it was. Everyone else was just sleeping. There was a night or two when some people would stay up a little bit. But I mean, it's also a really exhausting process of ghost hunting like that and traveling and all of that. So people, like normal human beings, would just go to bed, and I didn't. So I don't necessarily.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say while people were sleeping.
I don't know that you can see in the episodes that I didn't sleep, but anytime we're at a place where we had to sleep, if you look closely, the bags under my eyes get a little bit bigger. I'm a little less energetic as the episode goes on.
Do you do like a usual like skin routine at night in the bathroom, or do you just like get under the covers?
No.
Yeah,
I wasn't doing any of that shit because I know a scary movie scene very well. Like, it's the typical trope. You put your face down in the sink, you look back up in the mirror, and that's when they get you. I wasn't letting that happen the entire time. Taking a shower, shaving my legs in the damn clown motel. It was very scary.
Oh no! Oh no! Did anything happen to anybody during the night, like when you weren't filming, or was everyone filming that whole time?
Or was there like a 24/7 like security cam tracking stuff?
We did have cameras.
You did, okay.
But And we had handheld cameras. Yes, the Clown Motel, which was the first place that we went to. The first night was definitely my night. Like the first time that I was like, wait, I have to actually sleep here? Like, isn't this a TV show? Like, aren't they gonna like put me in the Ritz-Carlton of the middle of nowhere, Nevada? No, I had to actually sleep there, and like nobody else was there but the five of us. And I kind of begged one of my castmates, Ken, to let me sleep in his bedroom because there was 2 beds. And platonically, I slept in his bedroom. Oh, yeah. And we stayed up really late, and he gave me a tarot reading, and it was nice. Aww. But then he had to go to bed. And I was in his room, because we only stayed in the most haunted rooms. It's not like they were like, oh, we're going to put you in the rooms where nothing bad happened. Like, no, we had to stay in the haunted rooms. So this was a room where people report ghosts like interrupting their sleep, grabbing their feet when they sleep, whatever. And literally my body gave out. I was starting to fall asleep, sitting up, and I felt 2 taps on my neck, like tap, tap. And
Shut up.
I thought it was Ken, so I got up real quick, and then it wasn't. And that really freaked me out. And then I really couldn't sleep after that. Yeah. And he's just sleeping peacefully in his bed. I have the lights on because I'm not paying the electric, and I'm not taking any chances. And all of a sudden, his feet starts wiggling. Like his one foot starts wiggling off the bed, like it's like being pulled. And it kept happening.
Stop.
And he was like in his sleep, like shaking it off. And I was like,
oh my God.
Sorry, Ken, I'm pulling out my handheld camera. And I started filming his foot. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my Lord.
Every time I shake in my sleep, I'm going to jolt awake and be like, what was grabbing me?
A clown.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. God. I was like, my feet were tucked in. There was no way. There was
I'd be going to sleep
ghost.
Crisscross applesauce. I would be
absolutely.
I'd be in a ball all night. Oh my gosh. Well, did you have like a favorite personal experience when ghost hunting in any of the locations?
Honestly, my favorite experience was probably when we went to the strip club, the Palomino, which is in Las Vegas. And that one, the whole experience was just really empowering. And they were dealing with aggressive spirits that were making it tough for the girls that work there. And that's actually the location where I was like, I stood up to the ghosts. And being a scaredy cat, that was like a big moment for me.
Yeah.
And even like, it just came out of me. I just started talking to this ghost, and I'm like, you get to haunt a Las Vegas strip club. Like, are you kidding me? There's so many places that you could be haunting. This is where you get to be. So, like, come on.
To some people, it would be the dream. Yeah. Yeah. It would...
Absolutely.
And you're gonna be a negative Nelly about it? I don't think so. Yeah.
And that was the one moment. Now, I don't know how people would feel about this. This might be like slightly ghost bro-y of me, but I was like, listen, we could, I don't know, maybe we could light a few things. We could, we could get your ass out of here.
We could kick you out. That's right.
Because no one wants you here if you're going to be mean. Everyone would like you to be here, but it's like they're being a shitty customer. And if you're, I'm sorry that for whatever reason you're tied to this area, but like, you got to be cool. Like, you don't pay the bills here. You get to see free naked ladies all night. Like, you got to be cool.
Yeah.
And, the ghost assured me that it was going to be cool. So
okay, hey, all right.
I hope it is. I hope it
sounds like worked.
You're a professional. After that, officially, that's an expert level move. I appreciate the not so veiled threat of like, I can kick your ass. We can get out of here.
I'm holding some sage, and you know what that means.
I mean, that's the thing that I kind of try to remind myself is like I'm alive and they're not. And it's not, I mean, you could almost look at that like it's a privilege or something. But it's not like I'm not saying I'm better than you because you're dead or anything like that. But like if there's people that genuinely do own these places and they pay the bills here, the building's in their name, like it's not technically yours right now. Like it's
Mhm.
not, but so you just have to like be not you have to learn how to coexist. Like you can be roommates.
Yeah.
In this strip
But
club.
yes, like you can be there. I'm not in the business of like crossing people over
Sure.
or any of that. That's not I don't feel like that's my place to do. But it's like if you're a major nuisance and you're affecting the business of the people that
Mhm.
are currently operating that place, like you got to figure it out. You either have to be cool or you got to go.
Mhm.
Do you have a theory as to, because I always wonder this, why certain spirits get stuck, or do they choose to stay there? Do you have any idea, like especially with this strip club ghost, was he like, I'm gonna stay in this my favorite spot on the strip? Or was it, do you think he's like accidentally stuck there? Do you have any theory on that?
I mean, I definitely think there's a lot of reasons why it happens. I mean, definitely it seems like the unfinished business
Right.
thing is a thing. I My favorite thing about the unknown is that it's unknown and nobody knows anything for sure. And so it's all just theory. And I like to entertain different theories, especially as you collect more data and you do this stuff constantly. You're like, okay, it seems like that's a theory that works. So I do think that the unfinished business thing is a thing. I think
Mm-hmm.
that the I love this place and I don't want to leave is a thing.
Mm.
Um, I think there's several things. I also always like to entertain like maybe it's just an energy that's
Right, like
trapped.
leftover energy or something.
Totally. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know any of this. I don't know what these things are capable of. I don't know. I don't know. But
I-
Hmm.
Is
I'm down to
there
try to figure out.
Yeah.
is there a type, a flavor of ghost that you are really hoping you never have to
Oh,
work with on
interesting.
this show? Like, is there a
Ooh.
a doll? Is there a
A
certain
gremlin, a
a shadow
wendigo.
figure, like a house where like really like it's too much for you? Like, is there one thing you're just hoping, please don't let production ever get us there?
Well, okay. I grew up Catholic and I can't help it. I mean, I'm very much not Catholic now, but I'm terrified of the idea of a demon.
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely entertain the possibility that it could be real, though at the same time, I don't know. I'm very skeptical of everything. I've also talked so much shit about demons on my podcast, and I'm always convinced that they're going to be like, hey, we heard you running your mouth about us once they have me in their grasps. Um, so I would say just like a demon type thing. We had a couple of moments where it was suspected that it could be something like that, but I don't know. I think it's very rare. I
Shit.
think it's I'm not the kind of person that thinks it's going to be a demon like just right off the bat. I think that
Yeah.
ghosts are super misunderstood. I definitely know that there's people in this world that see someone like me and they think that I'm a demon just because they don't
Oh, good.
understand me, you
Right,
know?
right,
Like I
right. I
think there's
get that.
definitely um I think there's just a lot of misunderstanding
Yeah.
that it could just be a really bitchy ghost
I was
and
gonna say, like, people are like demonic in real life, so why not be total assholes in the afterlife? But yeah, the Catholics, I swear to God, they instilled, because I grew up Catholic too, and I'm also a recovering Catholic and far from it, but they really, from like 2 years old on, instilled this fear of demons in me. Even though I kind of know better, but any of those movies like The Exorcist and Emily Rose and all that, I mean, really, I think that's probably, I guess I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah, that stuff still to this day just really like scares me in a way that is, I'm so annoyed. And actually during the pandemic, we had an earthquake here, and it happened when I was on a Zoom call with somebody and they were asking me my thoughts of demons. And I started talking shit about demons and about how I'm not really convinced that they're real. And then
Please stand by. We have to step away and go get wine. Answer the door.
Okay, we had some technical difficulties right as Roz said the D word.
I know.
the D word
rhymes with, oh, never mind. Not going to say what it rhymes with because only one word came to mind.
semen.
That's the one.
Thank you. I was like,
Listen,
where are we
I
going?
kept saying, there was one of these haunted locations where I was like, I shouldn't say this. I was just basically like, this is not the D word I would like. But
yeah,
anyway.
and the whole computer, all our, well, M's and my internet and Eva's all went funky. Then M got kicked into the, I don't know,
The
stratosphere.
nebulous of the internet. Yeah.
somewhere, and couldn't hear us, but then was muttering under their breath, not knowing we could hear them.
I was
So
like,
it
where
was
do
all
I
very
do?
chaotic. So I apologize, Roz. As you can tell,
Okay.
we're new at this whole guest thing.
You guys are
but
doing great. Well, I
thank you
think
for sharing your
let's
story
just
about
we
demons.
won't talk about the D word anymore.
Excellent idea. Excellent
Well,
idea.
that's okay. I don't even remember what I asked to get us there. But I
You
did.
said, what do you not want to encounter? Basically,
Oh,
is
yes.
what you
Oh,
asked.
And-
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Well-
I would say that. And I just don't like the sleep stuff. I
Yeah.
just, that is such
Yeah.
a sacred time for me. It is such a
Yeah.
vulnerable time for me. I'm not even gonna lie, like the last relationship I was in for like 2 years, I made him sleep in a different bed than me. I don't like to be interrupted when I sleep.
It's
And
fair.
my dog sleeps in my bed. He knows better than to lick me when I'm sleeping. I don't want
Your
to be
boyfriend
interrupted.
didn't.
He didn't. He wouldn't stop licking me.
That's the rule. The only rule.
No licking, no grabbing my toes, none of that stuff. So, yeah, it's the funny thing is, okay, here's the story. I very big into therapy, and I love EMDR therapy with like the lights and dealing with traumas, and I I was already in therapy, and I do it over an app, and my therapist is wonderful, and she lives in the Midwest, and it was revealed to me after I was already in therapy with her that she likes ghost hunting. And it was kind of a weird coincidence. And I told her, like, I really want to deal with this sleep thing. And so we focused together weeks. Every single one of my damn sessions, there's a lot of things I need to be talking about, but I dedicated it on sleeping in haunted places the entire time I was working on the show.
That's
and
amazing.
sometimes I would be FaceTiming with her in these haunted places, and she was great at talking me through and whatever. And when I first got the show, I told her, like, that's the part that I'm the most stressed about, because I'm going to
Right.
be on TV. I want to look pretty. I need my beauty rest, whatever. And she said to me, this being a ghost hunter in the Midwest, she said, well, just be grateful you don't have to sleep at the Lemp Mansion. The Lemp Mansion was the final place that we went to.
You're kidding me.
And she had no clue. And I said, why would you say that? She's because I said, we are going there. I just
Of all
learned
things.
that we're going to be going there. And she's like, no reason. She's like, it's not that bad. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, shit.
So
Poor
yeah,
girl.
for me, it kind of led up to going to that place at the very end. And I mean, she did a lot of great work with me, but I'm still not fully there when it comes to sleeping in haunted places.
Was she like on FaceTime while you were at the Lemp Mansion, like just kind of doing her own little snooping around, doing her own little investigation?
Right.
I wish. I know. I was like just about threatening her. Like, if there's a ghost in this damn place, I'm calling you at 1 a.m. I don't care.
Flying you in here.
Yeah, drive over.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you, because of like, all of your ghost hunting, I think it's fair to ask, do things follow you home? And like, how do you handle that in your own
do you have like a
space?
ritual to keep them away?
I know. I think about this a lot. And there's a part of me where I'm like, okay, I don't want to be too fun because I don't want them to be like, okay,
To want to be
you're
roomies.
fun, you're cute, let's go wherever you're going.
I'm coming home with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely have like my little personal beliefs with my crystals and my things that I light and my whatever that help me to feel better about that sort of a thing. Luckily, knock on wood, it has not happened. I know that my home has a security system for humans and non-humans. And I've got truly like a spiritual force field set up around here. And every damn thing that anyone has ever told me will keep away.
You have like salt in the corners.
All of it.
All that business.
Oh,
yeah.
I got tourmalines
I would appreciate
in
a
each
list.
corner.
I'd love a list where you can tell me exactly how to do that.
Yeah, I
want to
follow the rules. I want to follow the same guidelines.
Here's my general belief of all this kind of stuff. I really think whatever you believe, that power, that conviction is strong enough to keep away an invisible bad energy. That's what I think.
Because every culture has a different process and procedure, and it's like the intention. It's the intention behind it, I think, more than anything.
Totally. I'm like, how can all of those things work? How can saying an Our Father work the same as sage or whatever? Like, I think that it's just all about what you believe. So sometimes when people will be like, what do I do or whatever, I'm like, well, I could tell you some things that people do and which one resonates with you.
Right.
And or you could do what I do, which is a little bit of that, and also like, just to be safe, I'll have this little thing and that little thing because it can't hurt. So, and I also have like a lot of friends that I've gathered from doing the podcast over the years that are people that kind of specialize in keeping the bad away, and so I got them all on speed dial.
That's perfect because M, if you don't know, M is Jewish, but for some reason is the first person when we're ghost hunting to immediately start saying the Our Father, the Hail Mary. Like, we'll just straight up be like, Jesus, I believe in you. You're in my heart. And we're like, what? It is
whatever
M's new belief system when we're ghost hunting.
Whatever deity is going to protect me in that moment, I am worshiping you.
Oh my God.
The most ridiculous thing.
That's hilarious. I know. There's times where I'm like, especially when I was doing this project and we were at nighttime, where I'm like on my phone Googling, like, can I technically become a nun as a trans woman? Like, would they accept me? Like, what?
Do I have to tell them? Can I just like fly under the radar? Is that
like,
allowed?
I was just like, I think I need to just get out of this business and go to the other, go to that side.
Go to the
but
light.
also, we live near each other. So if you ever have something follow you over, call me up. You can come over here. It's
Borrow some
safe.
salt for the corners. Yeah.
It's a safe place. I have a feeling that if a psychic came over here, they would see just a bunch of demons smoking cigarettes outside because they're not allowed in. I don't know.
I very much appreciate that. I'm happy to have you on speed dial in an emergency because I never know. The other day I felt something in here and I was like, it all of a sudden becomes a moment when you're like, oh, I really wish I had some backup. So, maybe you can be my backup.
You gotta have backup. And my friend R.H. Davis is a exorcist who lives in Los Angeles.
Oh,
and,
shit.
Good to know.
Yeah, she is somebody that if I locally need someone, the first person I'm calling.
Wow.
How do you find and collect so many contacts? Like, Is there like a directory
Asking
somewhere?
for a friend. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've been doing my podcast for like, I don't know, 5 or so years. And when you have guests, you need different people every week.
Yeah,
That's
And
true.
particularly the first few years was really focused on people's stories and experiences. And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm running out of people with stories that, because I was having on celebrities and the occasional like person from a ghost hunting show or
Right.
whatever. And then people started telling me they wanted more professionals that work in the field. So I was having them on and I learned so much from talking to those people. And a
Sure.
lot of them I've gotten to become friends with. I would say like that's what I love about podcasting. It's like such an excuse to hang out with somebody.
Yes.
And honestly, like most of the people I've ever had on my podcast, if I didn't know them already, like we're like friends now, and that's
I
really
love that.
been cool. And so now you guys are my friends.
Well, since you and Rainn Wilson are the only people that have ever been on this podcast, I feel like you're
Whoa.
our little crew. Welcome to
Oh
the
my
club.
God, I'm honored. Yeah, so like that's nowadays like my podcast I still have on a lot of celebrities and comedians and people like that, but I do like my own research a lot of the time, and we just like laugh and talk about different paranormal cases that I've researched. But if they have stories, I'm always like, bring them on. I love
Bring
to
it
hear
on.
people's stories. And actually, since this episode will be out after what I'm about to say, I'm having Kristen Stewart on my podcast.
Oh my God,
that's
how
perfect.
fun.
My boss, Kristen
Oh
Fuck
my
Stewart.
yes. Fuck yes.
That's
Yeah.
do you know any of her personal stories already of what you're going to ask her, or is this going to be brand new for
Or
you
have you
too?
already recorded that?
I at the time of this recording, I have not recorded it
Okay.
yet. We've talked a little bit about it, and I mean, for years now, because I'm always looking for guests, I have Googled celebrities with ghost stories, and there's always like these like People Magazine or whatever, like they're always like the same list of the same
Right.
celebrities, and Kristen's always been on there. So I definitely know that she's had some experiences and definitely believes in this stuff. And like this show is her idea with her best friend CJ. And they're both like real into this kind of stuff.
I love it.
So
Perfect.
Oh, I'm excited to listen to that.
even
Well,
when celebrities don't have stories, like I think it's interesting as a fan of them just to hear like what their belief is. I think it's a really unique insight on a person that you're into or that you've watched in movies or TV shows or whatever to just hear what they think about it. Like it's such a I don't know, it's such a deep thing, and it's a lot of talk of
It's like
life
kind of
and
an
death
intimate
and-
thing, but like still fun to
Yeah.
talk about. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Since we have a celebrity on our show right now, are there any personal stories you've had before, your actual job doing this scary stuff? Did you have any experiences before that got you into the whole paranormal world?
Oh yeah. I mean, I had like a number of them. I'm very skeptical even of myself. I think of myself more than anyone. God, my ass is always trying to be, oh, I got a great story. It's not that good, girl. Like, so I would say I'm trying to think of one that I haven't told a billion times. I have a haunted Ouija board story. that
Ooh.
I think I had like a Ouija board roommate for a while that
Oh God.
God, M's worst nightmare.
I know. The year was 2009. Kesha
gosh.
was on the radio.
Was playing on the radio.
The TV show Glee was tearing it up
rage.
on TV. And I'm finding myself in a thrift store. And I was actually going from Orange County to North Hollywood, where I lived at the time. And I pulled over, went to a Goodwill because there was all this traffic and I didn't want to drive. And I see this Ouija board. I like old spooky retro stuff. My whole living room is like 60s, 70s paranormal
cool.
stuff.
That's amazing.
And I was like, okay, I need to get this. It was $1. Basically, I take it home. I was like, I'm never going to play with it. Like, of course, my like Catholic, whatever, especially at the time, I wasn't like working around paranormal a lot. So I was just kind of like, I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to be playing this, but it looks cool. So I just like put it on the ground in my living room. Well, it was a studio apartment, so living room, kitchen, whatever.
Bedroom,
all of it. Yeah. And a couple days later, I had a gentleman over in my home, and we were hanging out, and he kept like looking around my little kitchen area, and he kept hearing something tapping. Like it sounded like something was dropping on the ground. Like it sounded like there was a leak in the ceiling or something. And I kept hearing it too, and I didn't say anything. But as soon as we acknowledged it, it stopped. And then we would like go back to whatever it is that we were doing, and then we would hear it again. It was like such a weird thing. And oh my God, this one night. This was the night. This one night, I'm all alone. This is probably why I don't like ghosts when I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping. The window's open. It's a hot summer night. And I'm one floor up. There's a parking lot below me. And I'm sleeping. My back is to the window, which is open. I'm looking at the wall. And I hear outside the window somebody walking back and forth below my window, and they're like kind of like shuffling their feet, and they're breathing like and they're just shuffling, and they're going back and forth, and it was like, I don't know, 15 minutes. I'm like, what is this person doing? And I'm not getting up and looking out there, but they just kept doing it, and I was getting annoyed, but whatever, I was trying to sleep. And then all of a sudden I stop hearing the shuffling on the pavement, but I hear the and it's getting louder, and it's getting louder. And then all of a sudden I hear my carpet shuffling, and and it's getting closer and closer. And then I feel something sit on my bed, and I turn, and there's nothing there. And then instantly I feel scurrying. I hear scurrying up my walls. My light turned on, and then it turned off. It was terrifying.
Are you serious? All of that happened at one? Oh my God.
All of this stuff happened in one night.
Forget it.
So that was the night that I never went to sleep.
Great story. That was
beautifully told.
The storytelling. I had an adrenaline moment there. Yeah, you really got me. Oh my gosh.
Well, more happened, but I think I told it in the first ever episode of Ghosted. If you went all the way back, you could hear the wrap up to that story.
What was this? So the scurrying up the walls, was it like little...
It sounded like fingers.
Gross.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No wonder. Yeah, like you said, no wonder you don't like to sleep in a haunted house.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Ew.
Well, call me crazy. I don't like sleeping when there's invisible things grabbing and touching and breathing on me.
And touching toes. Yeah. Oh my God. Well, thank you so much for being with us and talking to us. And I was going to ask more questions, but that story was the perfect high to end on. So
beautifully told.
Is there, before we go, please shout out all the places people can find you and all that good stuff.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is so cool.
Delight.
I really appreciate this. And you guys will be on my podcast, I believe, in like a couple of weeks, sometime in November. And that podcast is called Ghosted by Roz Hernandez. And that's every single Monday. That's out everywhere you get podcasts. My dream since childhood is to be an Instagram celebrity, and that is at Roz Hernandez. I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm going on tour in November and December. I'm doing New York, Seattle, Portland, Vancouver, and maybe some more cities. I don't know, just a little mini tour. And the TV show I'm on is called Living for the Dead. And that will be out on Hulu starting October 18th. And even after Halloween, you could watch it and enjoy it.
October 18th. I'm genuinely putting this in my calendar because I cannot wait.
Yay!
Thank you
and
so
please,
much for
everyone,
everything.
tell the queers that there's a queer paranormal show.
Extra, read all about it.
The queers and the allies. I think everyone will enjoy it. But, these shows with with these casts of just queer people, and it's a very diverse group of queer people. We love to see it. And I want to make sure that people do see it and spread the word.
Yeah, give it some love. It's about time we get some queer ghost shows on the air, is all I have to say. We've been waiting.
Thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roz.